Prologue. Something was crawling up his leg, chewing at his consciousness as well as his skin. He violently slapped at it, heard it scurry away in the darkness, but couldn't see it. It wasn't from the hood that no longer covered his head. When he opened his eyes, it was still pitch black. He strained for any sounds that might help him get his bearings. Except for his labored breathing, however, there was complete silence. The cuffs that had bound his arms behind him were gone, although his shoulders still ached. He stood slowly, felt the lingering stiffness in his body, but was grateful to again be able to move. He raised his hands in front of his face, pointing outward, and cautiously inched forward. In a few steps, he made contact with the wall. The chill from the stone seemed to penetrate his fingers and travel through his bones as he released a shiver. Pulling his hands back, he could feel dampness remaining on his fingertips. He rubbed his hands together. He tried stepping out of the dimensions of his indeterminate confines until his knee banged into something unyielding. He used his hand to trace the shape of the offending object, a john. He reached around it and made contact with an adjacent sink. After a few more minutes of exploring, he concluded that he was in a cubicle approximately 10 feet by 10 feet. He was trembling, and he was chilled to the bone. In his mind's eye, he reconstructed the 2 emails addressed to Jake Klein Lotello, sent just before the thugs had grabbed him and roughed him up. As near as he could tell, that was only a few hours ago. He had written the 2 back-to-back emails in code, JKs Code, because he couldn't dare let them know what he was actually trying to say. His life depended on concealing the real message of the emails from them. It had been years since he had used the code he'd devised to impress his older sister and that she'd christened after his own nickname, JK. He wondered whether she would still remember JK's code and how it worked. The first email had read, "Dear Sis, hope you're well. We need to catch up. Hugs, Jake." The second email had read, "Bukhar Absim U-." He had been forced to split the message in 2 parts. As it was, he hadn't had time to finish the second email. On its face, the beginning of the first email was perfectly innocent. His captors would not know it had a double meaning. He could only hope Leah would, and would apply JK's code to translate "Dear Sis" into "Dire SOS," to tell her that he was in trouble, serious trouble. Signing it with his formal name rather than his favored nickname was intended to signal something was amiss. Jake hated having to send the 2 emails to her, having to be dependent on anyone, especially on his sister, who still treated him like he was a child instead of a 20-year-old man. The last time he and Leah had spoken 3 months earlier, he lost his temper and essentially told her to leave him alone. He didn't think he needed anyone's help. He was wrong. And he was scared.